regardless of how you live on this earth, 6 feet under is your destiny. And that is why, as a leader, it is important. Hi guys, it's lilymutamztv, also known as Z, girl from Zambia. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe so that each time I upload videos, you will be notified that Z has uploaded a video. In this video, I want to address Africa in terms of what's been happening across the world. We all know that the coronavirus has affected many people. Most countries have the coronavirus, and it is not something that we anticipated for this year. Now my focus is on Africa because something just happened, and it's a wake-up call to our leaders. Many a times we have complained as the youths of Africa about how our leaders are very selfish and they don't put in the best facilities for us in Africa. And it is during this worldwide lockdown that we have seen others being affected. In as much as this is sensitive, I would like to talk about Abba Kyari. Abba Kyari was a chief of staff close to Mohammed Waziri, a Nigerian president. Now this is a man who has the power to go to any hospital in the world he wants to. He can pay the best physicians to take care of him. But sadly, coronavirus took his life. He was so close to Mohammed Waziri in that Mohammed Waziri never really tweets about issues, but he tweeted on his Twitter stating that this man was his close friend for more than 42 years. In fact, some Nigerians have expressed how bitter they are towards this man because they say he was the one controlling the Nigerian government. There is even a policy that Mohammed Waziri put in place to say anyone who wants to address Mohammed Waziri should go through this man. And now this man is no more. When we heard of the news that this man died of coronavirus, I began asking myself questions. How did this man get the coronavirus? Was he able to be treated within the Nigerian setting, hospitals? And then I checked on the history of this man. So in 2016, he had a breathing problem and he was flown to the UK for medical attention. And when he was flown to the UK, it was obviously a threat to his life. He had underlying conditions, but he had recovered. That's 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. 5 years later, coronavirus takes his life. And I was also wondering, how did he catch it? Like I've said, I was wondering, how did he catch it? And then I read an article. So according to online news articles, this man had traveled to Germany for a meeting with more than 20 government officials in the beginning of March. Now, by March, we had already heard of deaths across the world. And I was just wondering why he even chose to travel to Germany for the meeting. It's with Siemens AG. And in Nigeria at the moment, it's been confirmed that 493 cases are active and some have recovered. We thank God for that. But sadly, this man has died. Governments of Africa, this is when the world is seeing that your inability to put in the best hospitals in the world is now evident that truly this is what happened. Because I know well truly that if the borders were still open, this man would have been flown to the UK, to the hospitals here, and he would have been saved. Just like Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson was in hospital and was in a coma, intensive care. He is now home. He has recovered because he received the best medical care. Now, when I look at all these things that are happening around the world, I look at what the Chinese people are doing to Africans, the relationship that the Chinese have with African governments, and then Africans are being told you are not allowed in our shopping malls. Africans are being told you're not allowed to stay in China. They are left homeless. And our leaders have failed us because they allowed China in our countries. There's more than 10 million Chinese people in Africa. Who allowed them? The African leaders, because they were the beneficiaries, not us. And then during the same period as well, Afghanistan has also reported cases, and the president of Afghanistan is at the moment in almost self-isolation because about 20 people that he works with very closely have contracted the coronavirus. And according to news reports again, they got the coronavirus through a document. Now, it gets me thinking, is the coronavirus a weapon? Like, how did a document have the virus and then people contracted it? We've seen videos of Chinese people going to shops, spitting on fruits, touching things, surfaces, so that people should catch the coronavirus. Is this a weapon that we are saying, oh no, it came from bats, it came from animals, but at the end of the day, people are being attacked. And the coronavirus is not discriminatory. And that is where African leaders have even seen that, look, this virus is not choosing who to go for. This man was a prominent figure, very prominent figure, one of the most powerful men in Nigeria, and he succumbed to the coronavirus. When I reflect on everything that's going on, I wanted to see a more united Africa, a more united Zambia, where I come from, a more united people. In the UK, for example, we've been told stay home, stay safe. The NHS, which is the National Health Service, have been praised for working so hard. But then the death of this nurse from Ghana, it pierced my heart. Because I was wondering, how can a nurse who's pregnant 28 weeks be working? Because then she put her life at risk. But she is normal. The good news is that the baby's life was saved. They had to do an emergency cesarean, and the baby is alive and well. She gave birth to a baby girl. They named the baby after her. We don't know whether she was in self-isolation, but it has been reported that her father, who lives in the UK as well, has the coronavirus. I don't know much about those facts because we have been told to respect the privacy of the family. I just wanted to bring in this story for a reason. Why did I want to bring in Mary? Had we had the best facilities in Africa, we wouldn't be migrating. Had we opportunities of jobs in Africa, we wouldn't be migrating. Had African leaders put in place good salaries, people wouldn't be migrating. Majority of people who have died to the coronavirus, those in the NHS in the UK, are professionals who are migrants from worldwide. Majority are from Africa. Our African leaders have failed us in many areas, including job opportunities. Because if they had the best hospital facilities, these people who are dying here in the UK would have been home in Africa, alive and well. But they came here to make a better living for their families. And they've put their lives at risk in America, Australia, Canada. Majority is foreigners from Africa as well that are working in hospitals in the front line, serving the lives of people who have coronavirus. Why? Because Africa has failed us. That is why people have migrated. Meanwhile, upon all these things that the Western world is saying, stay safe, stay home, stay where you are, the Zambian politicians are portraying a different behavior. Now it gets me thinking, why do African politicians think of themselves only? These are the images of donations that are being made by politicians in Zambia. And guess what? They are giving out free masks with their logo, political regalia. Is the coronavirus supposed to be used as a means of political campaign? So in this pandemic, where a prominent figure has died, prominent doctors have died, presidents have fallen ill, and we even have the Prime Minister of Britain who was even in intensive care, all the African leaders or party leaders in Zambia, all they are thinking of is, this is our means of campaign. Those who don't have face masks, we are going to give you face masks, but they're going to have Patriotic Front. They're going to have UPND. UPND is an opposition party which is run by a man called Hakainde Hichilema from Zambia. They donated some water tanks and whatever. They also donated some hand sanitizers, which is a good thing. We were happy to see that. But only to see this donated by UPND. Is this the time, honestly, to use for your own campaign to show people that you're donating? Because worldwide, everybody's in crisis. So why should you use this as an opportunity now to advertise your political party? Are you thinking about people, or you're thinking only about yourselves and how you win the elections in 2021? I was so disappointed and disgusted. If you want to donate the masks that are properly used even in clinics, and not asking somebody to cut the pieces of your material which have probably been lying somewhere, and then you say, we are donating these face masks. So when people are moving around the streets of Zambia, they should be wearing, others will be wearing PF, others will be wearing UPND, because if people can't afford them, they'll have to wear those. Does it mean there'll be peace in Zambia? Or people will be safe from the coronavirus? No, it will rather cause conflict. So I was disgusted when I saw that. I even expected the government of Zambia to say that it was a mistake that these masks were made into the political regalia. But no, the chief spokesperson, Dora Salia, had to say that they have every right to donate whatever they want to donate, because at the end of the day, it is towards the cause of the pandemic. A political regalia? Is that what you call a donation? Who is benefiting, you or the people of Zambia? Why should you have regalia that is labeled with your political slogan and flags, whatever you can call them? For who? This selfish kind of leadership is what has made us stuck to where we are now. Instead of you thinking of providing the best masks that can be used by people in Zambia, you are rather thinking of how you will benefit as a political party, you will benefit as a government. You as a spokesperson of the government, you should be ashamed of yourself that you even approve of such masks to be worn by people of Zambia. It is not fair. We are not in a dictatorship, we are in a democracy. And therefore, if you're providing us with the equipment or the facilities that people need to use, we should wear according to the clinical guidelines, not what you want us to wear because it suits your political party. Meanwhile, we have seen police in Uganda, Zambia, Kenya, Nigeria, forcing curfews on people, forcing lockdowns on people, enforcing by using force. Yes, it is a good thing for people to stay home, but don't use force. We have seen police officers in Kenya, Nigeria, Zambia, and other parts of Africa using force because people don't want to obey the lockdown. And because of that, we just lost a man who was a boda driver. You know, those people who ride the Okada or the Honda, whatever you can call them, because the police people killed this person. He was shot dead because he was failing to stop. Can African leaders please put in place a certain means of communication? You don't need to use force. In Zambia, we have Boma Lusambo that has been using force, whipping people if he finds them drinking in pubs. What if those people you're whipping die? And when he was confronted that if what he's doing is reported to the Human Rights Commission, I read a post somewhere where apparently Boma Lusambo was confronted to say what he is doing is wrong. He is fighting people, whipping them, and he was like, if he finds the Human Rights Commissioner in the pub, he will whip him as well. I think that's wrong to be beating up people, using force just because you want to tell people that they should stay home. So for those of you who are in Zambia, you know that Kafue is presently on lockdown because that's where the cases were risen. And most people were arguing that the coronavirus will not affect Black people, and I've seen a lot of death tolls being Black people worldwide, in America, all over. Let me just give you some statistics about the coronavirus. So far, worldwide, the coronavirus, we've had 2.3 million cases, over 160,000 deaths. And we've had 520,000 people who have recovered. Those are just statistics worldwide. So when we talk about